As we've all experienced, sometimes we don't want our new players that are joining our server to spawn naked on the beach. Maybe we want them to spawn at a supermarket or at a gas station. Maybe we want them to spawn on top of the launch site so they immediately die of radiation poisoning. Who knows? In either case, no matter what it is that you're trying to do, you want to have control over where players can spawn on your map. And to satisfy the request of many of my viewers, we're doing exactly that today. Hey guys, welcome back to Rust Admin Academy, where I teach you guys the very best tips and tricks to owning and operating a Rust server. On this channel, I do a lot of plugin reviews and tutorials to teach you guys everything that you might run into as you're setting up your server. So if you're brand new to the channel, consider subscribing so that you stay up to date on everything that we're working on. And if you'd like to join the Discord so that you have direct access to me as well as over 1,000 other members, grab the link that's above me right now. I'll of course put a link to in the video description down below as well. And of course, if you want to throw any support towards the channel so that I can continue bringing you quality content just like this, check me out at patreon.com/srtbull. Alright, so today I'm going to show you guys exactly how you can make it so that your players don't always spawn on the beach. In fact, we're going to make it so that you determine as the server owner exactly where they can spawn. So in order to do this, we need two plugins. The first one is called SpawnsDatabase. It's available from the Umod website. And of course, I'll put a link to that in the video description down below. The second plugin that we need is CustomSpawnPoints. Both of these plugins are developed by the same developer, so they work well together. That developer is KillU. I'm sure you've seen a lot of his work before. He also posts a lot of stuff on Chaos Code. So this is kind of a double header. You're basically going to get a really quick rundown on SpawnsDatabase. It's a super easy plugin and it does absolutely nothing for you as far as gameplay goes. But what it does do is it allows you to create a database that other plugins can then use the information from. So we're going to quickly go through SpawnsDatabase, and then of course we're going to go through CustomSpawnPoints, which is the whole point of this video. So I'm going to go ahead and install both of these plugins, and then we're going to dive into how both of these work. If you've never installed a Umod plugin before, make sure you check out the video in the top right hand corner right now. It shows you exactly what to do when you're installing a plugin and what to expect from your server when you're doing that. So there are a couple of different commands that we need to be aware of for SpawnsDatabase. There are no commands for CustomSpawnPoints, and I'll explain why as we go through. So just make sure you familiarize yourself with the different commands. They are available on the Umod website for SpawnsDatabase, so you'll have a quick and easy reference to all of these commands. It's not like you have to remember them. As you can see here by my server console provided to me by icedhost.com, make sure you check them out for all of your Rust server hosting needs. You can see that spawns compiled correctly and everything went okay as far as SpawnsDatabase goes. However, the next line down below that, it says CustomSpawnPoints was compiled successfully, but then it says no spawn file set in the config, unable to continue. And that's okay. You're going to get that error too because we haven't actually given it a spawn file that it can actually pull information from. So don't worry, you're going to get this error. It's perfectly okay. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to decide exactly where we want new players to spawn in, and not necessarily new players, but anybody that doesn't spawn on a sleeping bag or a bed. Where do we want these players to spawn in? So because of what I said during the intro, we're going to do exactly that. So we're going to do the gas station, we're going to do the supermarket, and we're also going to do the launch site so that if somebody happens to accidentally spawn there, they're just going to die from radiation. I'll caution you on this. You don't necessarily want to do this on your server. I just want to show you that you can do it, but don't piss off any new players by spawning them on top of the launch site and just having them immediately die. And it is random as to which spawn location it goes to, so it could happen time after time after time. So just be careful with that. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to create a new database file. So the command for that is /spawnsnew. That's going to start us up a new file, and then we can go in and start adding different spawn points to it. You are now creating a new spawn file. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. So now that we're working on this spawn file, we need to decide where we want to actually put this spawn. Let's put it on top of this car. And then we just do /spawnsadd, just like that, with a space in between. And it says added spawn number 1. Okay, so now that we're over at the gas station, we're already still working on that same spawn file. So now we just need to do /spawnsadd again, and it says added spawn number 2. Perfect. On the way over to the launch site, I also happen to come across the outpost, so let's just do one here too. Added spawn number 3. And of course, as promised, here we are on top of the launch site, right in front of the helicopter, right in front of all this wonderful loot up here. And we're going to do /spawnsadd, and this will add spawns number 4. Okay, so for demonstration purposes, 4 different spawns is probably going to be enough. You can do as many as you want on your server. The next step though is very important. You have to use the right command or you're going to lose all of the work that you've done so far. You want to do /spawns_save, and then you want to give this a file name. So we'll just call this Newman, just for argument's sake. So it says 4 spawn points saved into the file called Nimmin, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. The reason I said be careful here is because it actually gives you a command that you can use there that is spawns close. So if you happen to think that you're working on an open file and you want to close the file, that will erase all of the work that you've done so far, and it won't save any of your spawn points that you've added to your file. So just make sure you do spawns save and then put in a file name. Don't use spawns close unless you're reopening a file that you've already created before and then you want to close that. Let's say if you were adding new spawns or removing new spawns, whatever the case may be. When you're setting up a new spawn file, make sure you do spawns, save, and then put in a file name there. So that was the brief rundown on how to set up a Spawns database using the plugin called SpawnsDatabase. But we want to use this information in CustomSpawnPoints, which is the second plugin that I talked about. Now this one is also very simple and does not affect anything as far as what your player sees, but it's going to change where they spawn on your map. So in order to make this happen, we have to tell CustomSpawnPoints where we want our players to spawn. So of course, to do that, we go into our file management system and we go into the configuration file for CustomSpawnPoints. We can open that up to edit it. In the configuration, the only thing it's going to ask us for, the only thing that we have to input in there is the file name that we saved using SpawnsDatabase that we now want to use for new players to spawn in at. And as you remember, we called that file Nimmin, so we can just put Nimmin in there, and then we need to save that file, and then we also need to reload the plugin. So I've now reloaded the plugin and it didn't give us that error anymore. So now it's finding a valid SpawnsDatabase file. So this plugin is now working as we want it to. So let's just go back in game and I'm just going to start dying and respawning and seeing where we end up. All right, so first successful death. Let's just respawn. And here we are. We ended up at the gas station. And second death. We ended up at the outpost this time. Third death. And this time we ended up in front of the supermarket. Respawn again. And this time we ended up on top of the launch site. So it only took 4 deaths and we ended up on top of the launch site. So as you can see, it works through our 1, 2, 3, 4 spawns that we used, and it does it in a random order. I'm sure he's got some sort of algorithm built in there so that maybe you don't end up at the same one twice in a row. I'm not sure. I don't know those specifics. So if you want to be able to change where new players spawn on your server or where existing players can spawn after they've died, you need these two plugins, SpawnsDatabase as well as CustomSpawnPoints. Now, SpawnsDatabase can be used for a lot more than what we've just used it for today, but this video is more about CustomSpawnPoints than it is SpawnsDatabase. If you guys would like to see an in-depth tutorial of SpawnsDatabase, I can certainly do that. Just let me know in the comment section down below if that's something that you would like to see. And of course, if you have any questions about CustomSpawnPoints, which is what this video is about, leave those in the comment section down below as well. All right, that basically sums up everything I need to tell you about setting up custom spawn points. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, do me a favor and smash that like button for me. And once you've done that, make sure you check out some of the videos on the right hand side of the screen. There's also the playlist for this entire library of tutorials. I put out a brand new video every Friday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So until next Friday, make sure you guys are staying safe, make sure you're taking care of each other, and I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching. Have a good week.